Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. To sing the national anthem, we have with us Laura Pluth. Laura is a current student double majoring in music and graphic design. Now, let's hear Laura Pluth.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Laura, thank you for your beautiful voice. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Members of the class of 2015, family, friends, and members of the ENV community, it is my high honor to welcome you to the College of Environmental Design commencement exercise for the class of 2015. It's a special honor to welcome President Coley and Mr. Coley to their first ENV commencement. We want President Coley to know that even though ENV is not the largest college at Cal Poly Pomona, our college and our departments are very proud of our special role and our special identity within the university. We are the creative college. Now, what does it mean to be the creative college? We have ideas. We have dreams. Some of us make packaging for products or design graphic images for mobile apps. Some of us design the built environment. Some of us are converting landscapes to save water and help Governor Brown achieve his goal of reducing California water use by 25%. Some of us design cities for social equity or economic empowerment. Whichever department is our home, we make things, we do things. In the ENV version of learning by doing, we teach and we learn how to take our ideas and turn them into reality. We take our dreams and learn how to talk about them, how to write about them, how to draw them, how to make them understandable and convincing so that our dreams can have an impact on real life. That's what it means to get your education in the creative college. ENV also is proud of our contribution to Cal Poly Pomona's unique polytechnic mission. As I'm sure you know, there is another polytechnic institution up on the Central Coast. What makes Cal Poly Pomona unique is our identity as the urban polytechnic. As the Urban Polytechnic University, we take pride in drawing from the exceptionally robust ethnic and social diversity of Southern California and fulfilling the CSU system's historical mandate to provide a ladder of upward mobility for future generations. ENV takes advantage of our central location in a great metropolitan region at the juncture of Los Angeles and Orange counties and the Inland Empire to create opportunities for our students to immerse themselves in the surrounding communities, to learn about the issues, conduct research, design solutions for real-life problems, and find internships and jobs. President Coley, the College of Environmental Design is proud to be part of your drive to show that the success of public higher education is a key to California's future success. Now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the distinguished members of the Platform Party. I ask each of them to stand as I read their names, but please hold your applause until they have all been introduced. First, Dr. Stephen Garcia, Vice President for Administrative Affairs. Dr. Rebecca Gutierrez-Keaton, Vice President for Student Affairs. Dr. Allison Perlman, who is our mace bearer and, of course, a faculty member in the Department of Art. Ms. Michelle Stoddard, Vice President for University Advancement. Mr. John McGuthrie, Chief Information Officer for Instructional and Information Technology. Dr. Juliana Delgado, our Interim Associate Dean. Dr. Richard Wilson, Chair of the Urban and Regional Planning Department. Dr. Martin Denboer, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs. Ms. Samantha Shieldja, our valedictorian and Outstanding Student McPhee Awardee. Mr. Martin Mares, Senior Class Representative. Mrs. Juliana Terrian, member of the class of 1980 and Distinguished Alumna of the Year for ENV. Dr. Soraya Coley, President of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona. Thank you all very much. Now, please be seated. I'd like to introduce a few more special guests who are with us tonight. Ron Coley, Vice President for Business and Administrative Services at UC Riverside and husband to President Coley, sitting right up here in the front row. And my wife, who isn't seen that often here on this campus, but someone who is constantly encouraging me to do the right thing for the College of Environmental Design, my wife, Lori Dowling. Thank you all for joining our celebration today. Now, I'd like to call on President Coley to step forward and give us her welcome and her introductory remarks. President Coley.
Thank you, Den Wu. Before I share my brief remarks with you, the graduates who are leaving us at Cal Poly Pomona, I want to bestow a special recognition upon someone else who is also departing, our provost, Dr. Martin Denboer. Martin, will you please join me at the podium? Martin joined Cal Poly Pomona in August of 2008, and since that time, he has been steadfast in his commitment to student success and academic excellence. Because of time, I will not read the resolution prepared for this occasion, but with the gratitude of the college deans, the faculty, and the Academic Senate for his outstanding achievements and personal dedication to the advancement of Cal Poly Pomona, I am pleased to bestow upon Martin the title of Provost Emeritus. Our very best wishes are extended to him as he assumes the position as Provost at DePaul University. Congratulations. Hello, class of 2015. On behalf of the outstanding faculty and staff of this great university, I am honored to welcome you and to applaud your accomplishments. Getting to this important milestone was not always easy. Late study nights, working, volunteering, economic challenges, attending to family needs. All of these and more could have deterred you. Instead, you persisted, and here you are today, and we could not be more proud or more excited. I am sure you would acknowledge that you did not reach this milestone on your own. Whether it was your family, friends, colleagues, faculty, and/or staff, today's commencement ceremony is as much their celebration as it is yours. Let's take a moment to honor them. Graduates, please look back at all of the guests and give them a well-deserved round of applause. There are other supporters whose names you may not know. They have contributed towards your education through scholarships and donations because they know how important education is to individuals and families, as well as to the advancement of our society. Many of these contributors once sat where you are now sitting. They felt compelled to pay it forward. And we hope that you too will join the Alumni Association and help enrich the lives of future students. Stay connected with us and help Cal Poly Pomona reach the next level of excellence. And as you leave us, you will be met with society's great opportunities and challenges. We will continue to advance technologically, but also struggle with the impact of income inequality. We will seek to live up to our country's ideals of diversity and inclusion and struggle to determine our contribution to global peace and well-being. We will debate the character and integrity of our leaders while seeking to personally demonstrate and instill those qualities in our children. This is the great paradox you will encounter. These complex issues will require more than cookie-cutter solutions. It will require leaders, innovative thinkers, and difference makers. And graduates, we've prepared you for just this moment. Let me share 2 words of advice. Be bold. Learn by doing. Diversity, inclusion, and the teacher-scholar model aren't simply abstract ideals of our university. These core values will give you an advantage as you work to identify pressing issues and develop creative solutions. You know what it means to live, learn, and lead in a changing multicultural world because you've already done it here at Cal Poly Pomona. After I graduated from college, I wasn't sure of my long-term plans, and one day a faculty member suggested I apply for graduate school, and that conversation changed my life. And I know that some of you have had such moments here at Cal Poly Pomona, and there will be other moments in your life when a single conversation or a specific event will change the trajectory of your life. Seize those moments. Be bold. Have confidence that you possess the education, the abilities, the intuition, and passion that will guide you to pursue new opportunities and to flourish when challenges arise. In closing, I'd like to leave my wish for you, which is taken from a passage by Dennis Kimbrough. May you develop a burning desire that is required of all achievement. May you stand up for the rights of others against the undesirable influence and threats of enemies. May you work faithfully and make the best of your opportunities. May you save your money so that you could pay your way in this world and yet be generous to those in need. May you bathe each day in the golden glow of enthusiasm, and may you render more and better service than that which you were paid for. May you love your fellow human beings without regard to the factors that some say should divide us. May you forgive and forget those that may have harmed you, and may you accept full responsibilities for the successes as well as the failures in your life. May you seek the seed of triumph in every adversity, and may you share yourself with others without expecting reward or payment in return. May you know that the greatest blessing is peace. May you know that the greatest obstacle is ignorance, that the greatest challenge is understanding, that the greatest mistake is conformity, that the greatest race is the human race, the greatest strength is faith, the greatest weakness is pride, and the greatest day is today. The greatest word is thanks. The greatest among us is whoever serves. The greatest message is hope. And the greatest of these is love and empathy. Congratulations, class of 2015. We're so very proud of your accomplishments.
Thank you, President Coley. Now, I'd like to introduce the senior class representative from the College of Environmental Design, Martin Mares, who will present the senior class gift to President Coley. Martin?
So, President Coley, Dean Wu, members of the Sage Party, distinguished guests, and fellow members of Class of 2015, every year, the graduating class leaves behind something for the campus community. It's about leaving the university better than it was when we first got here. This tradition succeeds every year because of another long-standing tradition at CPP, which is philanthropy. The senior class gift is entirely funded by donations of the graduating seniors. This is truly a gift from us to the future students. Our gift will be to place observation cameras in the first phase of Cal Poly Pomona's efforts to revitalize the Kellogg Creek. These cameras will help to make this effort more than just a project to renew our environment, but also an exciting opportunity for Cal Poly Pomona future students. President Coley, I am honored to present this class gift of 2015.
Thank you, Martin, and thank you, class of 2015, on behalf of the future generations of Cal Poly Pomona. We appreciate your early philanthropy, and we hope that you will recognize how important this contribution is to the students who will come after you. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin, and thank you to the class of 2015. Now, I have the privilege of presenting the Julian A. McPhee Honor Award for Student Excellence, an award which the university has given since 2002. Julian McPhee was the founding president of both Cal Poly Pomona and Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. He provided more than 35 years of dedicated service to the citizens of California. Because of his visionary leadership and astute negotiating skills, Californians can point with pride to two of the nation's finest universities founded on the educational principle embodied in the motto, "Learn by doing." This special award was generously funded by an anonymous donor who was a colleague of Julian McPhee. The award honors a current graduating senior who exhibits excellence in his or her academic endeavors. Now, it is my pleasure to present the Julian A. McPhee Award to the outstanding scholar from the College of Environmental Design. This year's honoree is Samantha Shielja, a student from the Department of Architecture. Samantha, will you please come join me here at the lectern? Thank you. Thank you. Samantha Shielja, in the words of her faculty, in the words of her teachers in the Department of Architecture, Samantha Shielja is a wonder student. Not in the sense of we wonder what she's doing, but rather she successfully wonders the best way to understand concepts and the best way to express her ideas. She doesn't just do things just to get them done. She does them to bring herself to a complete understanding of the issue at hand. Samantha has chosen a difficult, challenging path with her dual majors in architecture and business. Her understanding that the profession of architecture is equal parts technical and business assures her a successful career as a professional. So it is no wonder that this wonder student is to be congratulated as the 2015 McPhee Award recipient. President Coley, would you please join us at the lectern? I think Tom wants you to take a photograph together, and maybe you should also have this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations, Samantha. Now, I'm about to call Dr. Martin Den Boer to step forward. Before he does, though, I also wanted to add a few words to what Dr. Coley said about him. As you may know, he is leaving us to go to become provost at DePaul University in Chicago. If it were not for Dr. Den Boer being provost, I wouldn't be standing here in front of you as dean of this college. And so I wanted to thank him personally for giving me this opportunity to serve the college. I also wanted to say, after talking with him many times about the shortcomings in the Southern California transportation system, now that he's moving to Chicago, he will have an excellent opportunity to model sustainable behavior by commuting to work without burning any fossil fuels. So please join with me in welcoming our Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Martin Den Boer, who is going to present the award to the winner of the Provost's Award for Excellence in Scholarly and Creative Activities. Please welcome Dr. Den Boer.
Thank you, Dean Wu, and it is indeed fitting that today's honoree is an expert in and extremely conscious of urban transportation issues. But let me start at the beginning and tell you about the Provost's Award for Excellence. These are provided with the generous support of President Coley, and they're intended to recognize the achievements of our faculty. These awards are given in 3 areas: in teaching, service, and scholarly and creative activity, and they acknowledge the central role that the faculty play in making Cal Poly Pomona the superb place of teaching, service, and scholarship that it is. Awardees are chosen in a rigorous process, and they must meet the very highest standards of excellence in their field. The Provost Award for Excellence in Scholarship and Creative Activity honors faculty who have made major contributions to the body of knowledge, practice, or pedagogy in their discipline. And it's a great pleasure for me to announce that the 2015 Provost Award for Excellence in Scholarship and Creative Activity goes to Professor Richard Wilson, Professor of Urban and Region Planning in the College of Environmental Design. So let me tell you a little bit about Professor Wilson. He's an expert in parking. I know we all learned about how to park in Driver Ed 101, but what we're talking about here is much more than that. Parking is really, if you think about it, central to the transportation system, if we want to call it a system that we have here in California. Parking issues really shape our residential areas and our places of entertainment. If you can't park, you're not going to go there. So understanding parking is crucial to urban planning. And today's honoree, Professor Wilson, is one of the country's foremost experts on parking. That's why he's often interviewed by the media, sharing his knowledge of parking policy, rail transit, car sharing, programs, and other urban transportation issues. He also has over 40 contracts with local governments, nonprofit organizations, and developers who rely on his research findings to shape their urban and regional planning decisions. He's been honored as a fellow of the American Institute of Certified Planners. And I'll also tell you that Professor Wilson is also an amazing artist. And so it's an honor and privilege to introduce to you the 2015 Provost Award winner for Excellence in Scholarly and Creative Activity, Professor Richard Wilson. That's it.
Thank you, Provost Denboer, President Coley, and members of the stage party, and congratulations to the class of 2015. I'm grateful for this honor and thank the selection committee and the provost for recognizing faculty scholarship. Cal Poly Pomona has provided an environment for me to grow as a scholar for the past 28 years. I'm personally gratified by the recognition, but I'm also pleased that it validates ENV's scholarly and creative activity. Urban planning scholarship is much more than knowledge creation. It requires that we link knowledge to action. That's why we exemplify Cal Poly Pomona's Learn by Doing tradition. We as urban planners address questions about rationality and power, while ENV's designers and artists tackle issues of aesthetics, perception, and meaning. Occasionally, when policy and design meet, it's very exciting, I assure you. So I dedicate this award to students in urban and regional planning and regenerative studies, past and present, who have given me the gift of their attention and inspired me. Thank you again.
We have one more present for Professor Wilson, which Provost Denboer will present.
Professor Wilson, if you can come back to the stage for a minute. We have a plaque for you, and here it is. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Let me now introduce Samantha Shilja, the recipient of the McPhee Award, who will also give us some remarks. Samantha, please step forward.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I consider this a huge honor to be standing here representing the College of Environmental Design, and thank you for allowing me this opportunity. Of all that I have accomplished and achieved in my 5 years at Cal Poly, it wouldn't be possible without my family and the nudge from my dad to apply here despite my initial hesitations. Since my dad is an alumnus from the College of Engineering, you could imagine my hesitations being an architectural student to actually listen to an engineer. However, I can tell you all today that I could have never imagined attending any other school, and what a true privilege it is to be graduating here from Cal Poly Pomona. I would like to personally thank the many others that have supported me throughout my academic career, including my parents, not only financially, but also inspirationally. To my boyfriend, Ryan Gonzalez, who never let me give up on myself and gave me strength. To my younger brother, Tyler, who were always there for me, even though I will never forgive you for graduating before me. To my grandparents, who have always emphasized the significance of my unique qualities. To my Uncle John, who helped me get through my 3rd year and out of the structures final due to his mechanical expertise. And a special thank you goes to my mom, who is truly my best friend and also deserves a degree in architecture due to her model building abilities and continued support. My experience here at Cal Poly Pomona has not only allowed me to grow professionally, but I have also made genuine friendships that will last a lifetime. All of you guys. Love you too. Despite my frequent breakdowns in studio, my friends continue to encourage and support me throughout the 5 years. Although there is a lot of competition among us architectural students at Cal Poly Pomona, we still act as one united student body, helping each other to succeed. All students of the College of Environmental Design understand that we must make continued sacrifices and have continued unique dedication in order to accomplish our goals and overcome the obstacles we have all faced. In conclusion, I want each of you to take a moment and truly remember how far you have all come and all that you have accomplished here at Cal Poly Pomona. I attribute all of my successes not only to my amazing family and support of the dedicated faculty and staff, but also to my determination to never be afraid to set my expectations beyond my capabilities. I have learned whenever there is a goal that is perceived as impossible, it is truly the challenge that has provided me the drive to achieve it. Each of us have our own strengths and weaknesses, and it is only when you accept everything that you are and aren't that you will only truly succeed. So I leave you with this. Be confident, be proud, take chances, discover your own journey, and never settle for something ordinary because we are all uniquely extraordinary. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Samantha. We appreciate your extraordinary accomplishments, and we are very proud of you. Thank you. Now that we have recognized the outstanding student scholar and the outstanding faculty scholar, it is my pleasure to introduce our distinguished alumna of the year, Mrs. Juliana Tarian. Members of the class of 2015, 35 years ago, Mrs. Tarian, or shall I say Juliana, was just like many of you, the first in her family to go to college, anxiously anticipating the next chapter in her life. Now, 35 years later, Juliana is the very model of an alumna who remembers what it was like to be a student here and who helps us improve the college experience for future generations. She is a successful business owner, a supporter of education and the arts, and a great mom to a talented daughter. Thanks to Juliana and her extraordinary devotion to our students, the Department of Architecture was able to replace the old tables in the IDC with more efficient new tables, which made it possible to increase the size of the incoming class by 20%. With Juliana's support, the college launched a new magazine to tell our stories and to raise our public visibility. And with her support, we will soon launch the newly designed website for the college and its departments, which will be second to none among the websites of the top design schools in the United States. When I told Juliana a couple of weeks ago that Associate Professor Ray Kampf is bringing a group of graphic design students to the World Expo in Milan, which is the art department's first study abroad program for its students, she immediately offered to arrange for a guide in Milan to escort our students through the expo. Juliana, please excuse my Californian accent, but on behalf of our students, I would like to say, alla nostra amica, alla signora Tarian, grazie mille dai suoi amici a Cal Poly Pomona. Now, for the students in the audience whose fluency in Italian is limited to ordering pizzas at Pieology, I just said to our friend Mrs. Tarian, 1,000 thanks from her friends at Cal Poly Pomona. Please join me in welcoming our distinguished alumna of the year, Mrs. Juliana Tarian.
Thank you. Congratulations, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful summer. And don't forget Cal Poly. I just wanted to read again what Dr. Coley said in this thing that from Dennis Kimbrough. My favorite, may you bathe each day in the Golden Glow of enthusiasm. Sounds good, doesn't it? Just do that this summer. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Juliana Tarian. Each year at commencement, I have the privilege of recognizing individuals from the college community who have excelled during their academic careers. An award is given to a graduating student from each department who is recognized for excellence in academic performance, design capability, and contributions to the life of the department and the college. All have distinguished themselves as members of our environmental design community. As I read the name of each recipient, I ask that you hold your applause until they have all joined me here on stage. So let me now ask the following students to step forward. From the Department of Architecture, Kate Billick. Hold your applause, please. From the Department of Art, Jennifer Nguyen. From the Department of Landscape Architecture, Weston McBee. From the Lyle Center for Regenerative Studies, Aiden Irish and Ariel Marsh. And from the Department of Urban and Regional Planning, Lawrence Roy. Come on up. First, from the Department of Architecture, we are honoring Kate Billick. It is with great pleasure that the Department of Architecture awards the 2015 Dean's Award to Kate Billick. Kate's clear intelligence and curiosity, her elegant design skills, and her due diligence led to recognition as the outstanding design student of her class in the 3rd and 4th years. Kate has sought numerous avenues for her architectural interests, collaborating on exhibitions sponsored by the Getty Foundation and the Graham Foundation. For 2 years, she represented Cal Poly Pomona in the Julius Schulman Emerging Talent Award competition. Her team was awarded 2nd place in 2014, and we are now awaiting the results for 2015. Undoubtedly, Kate Billick's bright star will improve the field of architecture. So I'd like to present this to Kate Billick. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. From the Department of Art, we're honoring Jennifer Nguyen. Jennifer Nguyen has achieved academic distinction through her professionalism, creativity, and zeal for the field of graphic design. She shows incredible enthusiasm for any project she undertakes and has an enviable work ethic. In the classroom, Jennifer sets the standard of excellence. She displays a perpetual willingness to learn and is earnest towards the success of her peers as well. Now that Jennifer is entering the workforce, the Department of Art faculty are confident that she will be successful in any endeavor she pursues in the field. Jennifer Nguyen. From the Department of Landscape Architecture, we are honoring Weston McBee. Weston McBee is a talented designer, humble in character, and a brilliant creative writer, a combination that provides the seeds for a thriving career in landscape architecture. Not only does he approach every design problem with brave curiosity and an open mind, but he continually reflects on what he is learning and why. In studio, he is always ahead of the game, iterating ideas before anybody else and bringing creative energy to the rest of his class, raising the bar across the board. Weston McBee. Now, From the Lyles Center for Regenerative Studies, we are honoring graduate students Aidan Irish and Ariel Marsh. The faculty and staff of the Lyles Center congratulate both Aidan Irish and Ariel Marsh as co-recipients of the Outstanding Student Award. Aidan is recognized for both his academic excellence and outstanding community service. Last year, he served as a Regenerative Community Fellow working on environmental education and mentorship at Westmont Elementary School in Pomona. He has continued to devote his time to the school and is an outstanding ambassador for the Lyles Center in the local community. Ariel also is recognized for her academic excellence as well as her commitment to advancing sustainability on campus. As a member of the women's basketball team, Ariel was instrumental in instituting zero-waste basketball games at Cal Poly Pomona this past season and is an outstanding ambassador for the center on campus. So now let me make these presentations. To Aidan Irish. Aidan. And to Ariel Marsh. Ariel. Now, I'd like to ask Assistant Professor Rennie Tang to join me at the podium. Assistant Professor Rennie Tang, here she comes. Oh, oops. Okay, I get it. I didn't turn. Excuse me. Excuse me, I need to learn to become better at turning pages. We have one more student presentation to make. From the Department of Urban and Regional Planning, we are honoring Lawrence Roy. Lawrence Roy is an outstanding master's student in the Department of Urban and Regional Planning. He demonstrates a unique blend of analytic, policy, and design skills as demonstrated in his GPA of 3.93. He is a collaborative leader in class activities, and his work featured prominently in the department's accreditation display. His specialization is land use and design, using a multidisciplinary approach with links to landscape architecture and regenerative studies. Lawrence is kind, generous, and funny, and has a strong future in the profession. Let's recognize Lawrence Roy. And let's see, I was just informed that the recipient of the Outstanding Faculty Award is in China right now, so I won't present the award to Assistant Professor Rennie Tang. We'll find a way to recognize her properly when she's here. Okay, now I'd like to call upon Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Martin Denboer, to present the candidates for the master's degrees.
Will the candidates for the degrees of Master of Architecture, Master of Interior Architecture, Master of Landscape Architecture, Master of Science in Regenerative Studies, and Master of Urban and Regional Planning please rise? President Coley, I present to you the 2015 candidates for the degrees of Master of Architecture, Master of Interior Architecture, Master of Landscape Architecture, Master of Science in Regenerative Studies, and Master of Urban and Regional Planning. These candidates have all completed the requirements for the master's degree. as prescribed by the State of California and the trustees of the California State University, and they have been recommended by the faculty of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona.
Candidates for the master's degree, you've heard the recommendation of the faculty of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona. By the authority vested in me as president, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Architecture, Master of Interior Architecture, Master of Landscape Architecture, Master of Science in Regenerative Studies, and Master of Urban and Regional Planning with all the rights, honors, and responsibilities appertaining thereto. Congratulations. Please be seated until you're directed to the stage to receive your master's hood.
Now, as we proceed through the march of the graduates, each graduate will have a photo taken by the professional photographers, and each graduate who turns in a photographer's card at the reader table will receive a proof. Ushers, please take your positions to help direct the candidates. Will the candidates for the master's degrees please rise? Each candidate should approach the stage as directed by the ushers with your hood folded over your left arm. Stop at the reader table. Proceed to the platform to receive your diploma cover and be hooded, and then recess down the center ramp and back to your seat again as directed by the ushers.
We now will begin the hooding of the Master of Architecture graduates. Will the architecture faculty who will be doing the hooding please come to the stage, and will the remaining architecture faculty form a line at the bottom of the ramp to greet the new graduates.
We present the candidates for the Master of Architecture. Sharzad Memar.
Courtney Elizabeth Embry.
Bahamin Barat Kub.
Pornrawi Nyangcharon.
Lyal Kode.
Lindsay Marie Calabrese.
Manaz Nasri.
Darlene Dolores Marince.
Chapman Yu.
Nia Amelie Pham.
Damian Corona.
Ada Jan Ying Wu.
Aram Hernandez Bustos.
Jeffrey Allen Van Vooris.
Lester Gonzalez.
Everett Frank Schofield.
Dickon Joshi. And this completes the awarding the degree Master of Architecture. We now present the candidates for the Master of Interior Architecture. Kalong Wong.
Tofik Gonem.
Yushan Kao.
Yekaterina Romanova.
Shenkeng Gao.
Sarah Khalifa Aldubabe.
Hannah Ku.
Mariam Abdullah Redwan.
Camille Akgun.
Mersa Zadmer.
Kiran Chakravorty.
Mona Benamorati.
Veronica Cruz.
Nikta Jahandad.
Evan Christopher J. Cisneros.
Abdulrahman Najib Al-Shanafi. Columba Yeon In. Inga Gabrielle Newsom. Jennifer Purcell. Diajeng Antin Amaril Hindratmo.
And this completes the awarding degree Master of Interior Architecture. We now present the candidates for Master of Landscape Architecture. Laura Razo Santoyo. Trenton Tucker Vale. Mohammed Khalid Al-Mohammadi. And this completes the awarding degree Master of Landscape Architecture. We now present the candidates for the Master of Science in Regenerative Studies. Maria Romero. R.P. Kasparian. Ariel Rosemarie Marsh. Christine Gabrielle Carino. Rail Jonathan Berkowitz. Amy Louise Chambers. Nikki M. Cavazos. Aiden John Irish. Cami Ann Pierre. Brandon Wayne Galati. And this completes the awarding the degree Master of Science in Regenerative Studies.
We present the candidates for the Master of Urban and Regional Planning. Ruben D. Salas. Linda U. Kramer. Matthew James Deemer. Brian Russell Carr. Daisy Perez Castellanos. Lawrence Richard Roy. Lane Raul Garcia. This completes the awarding of the degree Master of Urban and Regional Planning.
We have completed the hooding of this year's graduates of the master degree programs. Let's congratulate them.
Will the candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Architecture, Bachelor of Art, Bachelor of Art in Art History, Bachelor of Fine Art in Graphic Design, Bachelor of Science in Landscape Architecture, and Bachelor of Science in Urban and Regional Planning please rise? President Coley, I present to you the 2015 candidates for the baccalaureate degree from the College of Environmental Design. These candidates have completed the requirements for the baccalaureate degree as prescribed by the state of California and the trustees of the California State University, and they have been recommended for their degrees by the faculty of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona.
Candidates for the baccalaureate degree, you've heard the recommendation of the faculty of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona. By the authority vested in me as president, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Architecture, Bachelor of Art in Art History, Bachelor of Fine Art in Graphic Design, Bachelor of Science in Landscape Architecture, and Bachelor of Science in Urban and Region Planning, with all the rights, honors, and responsibilities appertaining thereto. Congratulations. Now, in academic tradition, the student who has not yet earned a degree wears the tassel on the mortarboard on the right side. When the degree is conferred, the scholar moves the tassel to the left and joins a select company. In recognition of your new status, will all the recipients of the baccalaureate degree move the tassel to the left?
To the members of the class of 2015, I commend you for your effort and accomplishments. Please be seated until you are directed to the stage to receive your diploma cover.
We present the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Architecture. Katerina Billick, magna cum laude.
Elvis Del Muro.
Angelo Cecino Ibera Rasixata.
Zenis Lamb.
Nicole Magasese Doan.
Michael Carlos Torres III.
Michael Gordon Moss.
Jose Eduardo Miramontes.
Bo Louis Guillen.
Sean William Ciesick. Jeffrey Scott Stevens.
Genesis Ariel Anaya.
Corey Lauren Pope.
Evelyn Mercado, cum laude.
Sebastian Eugene Greider.
Connor Sion Murphy Boyd.
Lalo Calderon.
Crystal Huang.
Ada Asensio.
Laura Renee Barnes.
Risa Lolita Marquez.
Alejandro H. Rodriguez Garcia, cum laude.
Crisel Ann Banas.
Celine Ida Isagolian Have, cum laude.
Mark Henry Fagan. An Kwok Ha. Sane Shokat Magadam, cum laude.
Daniel Nathan Lawrence, cum laude.
Christy Ye, cum laude.
Nicole Hannah Sigakawa.
Maria de Lourdes Ornelas.
Alexander Nicolas Nokomos, magna cum laude.
Celia Cherie Spolstra. Carrie Jean Trenhale.
Andrew James Oliver.
Nitha Puthran.
Julio S. Rodriguez Delgado.
Samuel Zhang.
Malik A. Berry.
Dominique Marie Bennett.
Michelle Labanine.
Maria Paz More.
Tung Hoi Pham.
Courtney Nicole Veladica. Annalise Marie Denton. Kuniko Nakanishi Nickel.
Carl E. Reed.
Josephine Fabricius, cum laude, Kellogg Honors.
Craig Pierce Aguilar.
Kathleen Marie Gillette, magna cum laude.
Samantha Jean Bergeron.
Eric John Martinez.
Michael James Curtis. Samantha Nicole Ingalina, cum laude.
Where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going?
Samantha K. Shields, summa cum laude, Kellogg Honors Scholar. Nicole Camara, summa cum laude.
Grace Zuling Kang.
Nasim Tahami. Jose Miguel Moreo Jr., cum laude. Hugo Garcia. And this completes the awarding the degree Bachelor of Architecture. We now present the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Art, Bachelor of Art in Art History, and Bachelor of Fine Art in Graphic Design. Nadia Minerva Macardo. Micah Nicolette Umali Claveria. Taylor Aaron Dorn. Mark Damian Vasquez. Erica Lynn Nutzel.
Charity Harris.
Lisa Marie Lozano. Navid Odalis Aguilar. Michelle Ray Acevedo.
Anthony Joseph Ponce.
Alexandria Marie Campos.
Amanda Reve Ash.
Lauren Marie Levis.
Sabrina Bomarito.
Alexis Marie Hashi.
Maxwell Lewis Ross.
Julia Manzo.
Jasmine Esquivel.
Young Kyung Park, magna cum laude.
Alyssa Morgan Houston.
Will C. Hangwang.
Jacqueline Mia Camacho.
Lulu Zhang.
Jen Yi Liang. Stephanie Ramos Manso.
Burnaby James Gabrielle Tengunnan III. Kyle Evan Bryson. Daniel Lawrence Aguilera. Brian Hernandez. Seth Edward Rivera. Leanne Colleen de Guzman. Chelsea Alexandria Delgadillo.
Darius Diego Candaru.
Emily Ann Roxvold. Christine Narag Wallace.
Carly Ann Doctorman.
Ashlyn Elizabeth Feather.
Amanda Joyce Glover.
Han Kim Vo.
Marissa Ann McIntyre.
Aaron Sofrino.
Justin Daniel Lopez.
Christy Ann Lim Arenas.
Cheryl Michelle Frianiza.
Samantha Emily Scott.
Morgan J. Chavaria.
Jeremy Ryan Wong, cum laude.
Alexandra Elissa Draper.
Kaylin Michelle Murray.
Elizabeth Salazar.
Jennifer Ann Newen, summa cum laude.
Cody Acosta Guerrero.
Deborah Shea.
Kelsey Joy Estrada. Paige Christine Gutierrez.
Malima Amanzada.
Tam Nok Min Lay.
Madeline Rose Scott.
Andrew Adil M. Hassan.
Del Edward Samorton Damansil.
Emily Louise Lyman.
Samuel Leland Mountain.
Lisa Wei Lee.
Matthew Ryan Kaiser.
Daniel Resplandor. Leslie Clarissa Soto. Annabelle Santian. Alfredo Bravo. Francis D. Banzon. Davy Jones Ilao Gonzalez. Joshua Rico. Danny Javier Gaviria Montano.
This completes the awarding the degree Bachelor of Art in Art History, and Bachelor of Fine Art in Graphic Design. We now present the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Landscape Architecture. Anel Ivora, Kellogg Honors Scholar.
Stephen Lee Andrews.
Mi Jung Sarah Moon.
Kevin Christopher Perez.
Monique Alejandra Quintero.
Eric Delgadillo.
Jonathan Ortiz.
Albert Francisco Hernandez.
Jonathan A. Schnattschneider.
Christian Nunez.
Alexander Owen Reyes.
Jeannie Chaboya.
Enrique Sierra.
Paulina Christine Forget.
Andrew Ray Lytle, cum laude.
Jeremy Efren Jaron.
Weston R. McBee, summa cum laude.
Adriana Cassian.
Ryan David Foman.
Saul Meneses.
May Chan Lee, cum laude.
Samuel Henry Treas.
Tyler Scott Page, magna cum laude.
Eusebio Huescas.
Christian Nicholas Morgutia.
Zachary Bowers.
Francisco J. Parra. And this completes the awarding the degree Bachelor of Science in Landscape Architecture. We now present the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Urban and Regional Planning. Mio Mauricio Mendez.
Frank K. Chen.
Brian Joel Bulaya.
Nyan Lihan Kio. Jose de Jesus Gonzalez Jr., cum laude. Adelfo Nicholas Maloney.
Justin Ray Harris Sr.
Tanya Espericueta, cum laude.
Tuan Hu Vo.
Victor Fernando Flores.
Helen Joan Appenzeller Vasquez.
James Martin Garganera.
Maria Guadalupe Herrera.
Angel Leon.
Allison Joyce Lee.
Kathy Yang.
Madai Castillo.
Daniel Arellano, cum laude.
Edgar Ramon Para.
Sulima Eli Antuna, magna cum laude.
Daniel Villa.
Jessica Nicole Alvarado.
Jonathan Ayon.
Alyssa Denise Berlino, cum laude.
Danny Tai.
Crystal V. Trin Tang.
Edgar Gonzalez.
Giovanni Gabriel Rivera.
Eduardo Hernandez Jr.
Jose Mendez.
Jaime Espinoza Jr.
Nicholas Soria Flores.
David Carrillo.
Christopher Charles Skaken.
Lissandra Orozco.
Bond Jamie Mendez.
Ryan Patrick Murphy.
Oscar Emmanuel Iniguez.
Marlon Garcia Gomez. Santos Joseph Anthony Sanchez.
Alex Millen.
Kimberly Ann Weaver.
Justin Alexander Tamayo.
Marisa Michelle Bourbon, magna cum laude.
Carla Iliana Talancon.
Nicole Marie Ellis, magna cum laude.
Karen Coe.
Marcos Lopez Jr., cum laude.
Jacqueline Ma.
Martin Mars Perez.
Kyle Lynn, cum laude. Matthew Panginkan Ramos.
And this completes the awarding the degree Bachelor of Science in Urban and Regional Planning.
Now, I'd like to ask the entire class of 2015 to rise. Will the entire class of 2015 rise? Audience, please join me in congratulating the College of Environmental Design class of 2015. Thank you. Thank you. Now please be seated. That brings us to the end of another commencement ceremony. We ask that members of the audience remain seated during the recessional. At the conclusion of the faculty recessional, our 2015 commencement will be formally concluded. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Thank you and congratulations to the members of the class of 2015.